Catholic standard right there, boy.
Well, cheers, man.
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks for having me back.
I'm making a mess, but
Make a mess, dude.
we
That's
are
what I made it for.
We are recording.
Yeah.
This is my first ever video podcast.
I'm stoked. I'm stoked you were able to do it this way, man. Like, yeah, this will be fun, man.
I don't know how much editing or work it's gonna be, but it's gonna be worth it.
I'm stoked, man.
And this is
great.
this is all because of you. So thank you, Shay.
Dude, you're the man.
Nah,
you're the man.
I
Thanks
appreciate
for having
it.
me back on. Dude. Always stoked to hang out with you, man. I've been meaning to hit you up anyway, honestly.
I don't even remember, when did we record the last one?
I think it was last year sometime, and things had gotten maybe 2 years ago even. It was a while ago.
And now how much has changed? Because now you're in the real estate game.
Yeah, got into real estate, got into, I really just like wanted to learn about real estate because I feel like there's a pipeline with finance stuff, right? Where you learn about investment. Well, like I opened a business first, and then it made me feel like I needed to learn about a little bit about money, so.
Which is where we are now, right?
Yep.
Wild Heart.
Wild Heart Tattoo Shop. Finally feels done. Like it's been like years and years, it's like paintings by all my guys on the walls. It feels finished. Like we're done swinging a hammer.
It's an art gallery, to be honest.
Thanks.
I mean, this is beautiful.
Dude, I really appreciate it.
When I first came through, there was like almost nothing on the walls.
Yep.
And the picture that I took of you was like almost a blank slate.
Totally.
And now there's nowhere to put it.
Yep. Oh yeah, yeah. There's a few more things I want to do visually, but I really feel like opening a business, you're like, dude, I'm like, oh, I opened a business, like, oh, but I don't know anything about money. You know what I mean? Like I'd always just sort of been an artist and, like living well within my means kind of thing. And so all of a sudden you realize like, oh, I need to learn about investment. If you learn about investment, then you have to learn about taxes. And then once you learn about taxes, it makes it so you have to learn a little bit about real estate.
Right.
Because I feel like that's the only way they let you hide money, right?
Well, most of the luxury buildings on Billionaires Row, they're empty.
Yeah.
Because that's where they hide their money.
It's a blessing and a curse and kind of a shame. You know what I mean? Like there's so much of that side of it where you're like, this is fucked up. Like I don't agree with it.
Yeah.
But also, am I going to miss out on the tax haven myself? Like, no.
You shouldn't.
I don't make the rules, so.
That's a big debate that me and my friends have sometimes because, okay, you don't want to harm anyone.
No.
You don't want to like be a bad part of society.
Right.
But if everyone else is doing it,
right.
Would you or should you partake?
I think that, I've gotten to be aware of this whole thing. And it sort of speaks to a little bit of what we talked about last time where I'm like, man, it's just above my pay grade. You know what I mean? Like you get to the point where you're like, it's like we were saying last time, like what, politics is kind of pro wrestling. Or, politicians are people that weren't good looking enough to be actors, as Joe said before, but it's kind of a similar thing where I'm like, I know it shouldn't be this way, but also like I can't fix it. I can't fix it myself, and we don't vote for it, right? Like, I feel like there's a famous moment in that first debate between Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton, where she's dogging him out for optimizing his tax situation and paying very little taxes. And he sits there, he turns right around and says, well, why didn't you fix it? You and your people were in power for how long and you didn't fix it? You were governor of New York State and you didn't do anything to change any of the laws. You could have. And you know why you didn't is because your people benefit from it too. So it's kind of one of those things that like politically both sides benefit from. And a lot of people think that like only the ultra wealthy can really take advantage of those tax havens and those sort of like financial situations, or you hear all the time about like this evil corporation, that evil corporation. And it's like, ultimately, I used to be the same way. Like I used to be like, oh man, fuck Amazon. They're fucking everybody over and they're gonna, shut down all the mom and pops and blah, blah, blah. And like, after a while, I mean, you get to the high end of your 30s and you're like, all right, we've been screaming and yelling for how long now? And voting, I voted through however many cycles and nothing fucking changed. Nothing came different of it. It was never even on the ballot to change any of these things, right? Like, and there's measures you could take. And I feel like there's, there was some mitigation here and there where like New York City told Walmart they couldn't open up a Walmart right in the middle of New York. Like there's little measures that have happened here and there, but for the most part, things are the way they've been for so long. And I'm at a point where I'm like, dude, I didn't do it. You know what I mean? Like whatever the case may be, I didn't do it. I can't vote to change it. So might as well collect a dividend.
But these are advantages and loopholes that favor people that have a little bit of money, at least, right?
Yep.
At least.
Totally.
If you're making X amount, let's say 50K, you're probably not thinking about, hey, I need to buy real estate to hide my money.
Probably not.
Right.
Not
maybe
yet.
after a couple of years.
Maybe after a couple of years
you
of
save money.
Very smart saving, very smart investing. If you're making, you know what I would say, if you're making 50K a year, you are probably right in that first bracket of people that could have something. You know what I mean?
It's so hard though. They make it so, especially here in New York.
Oh, they fucking make it so hard. And
here
you can't have any fun.
Right.
Like if you,
right.
If you hope to have, if you make 50K on the nose a year, like let's say if you make 50K after taxes, you're not going out, you're eating, you're cooking at the house every night.
Right.
You are not having any fucking fun. You're on a shoestring budget and you are living an austere kind of life.
Yes.
If you really hope to save or have anything. I did watch a clip the other day of a guy who, I think he made like $30,000 a year as like a parking lot attendant and had managed to save up, by the time they were doing the interview, I think it took him 25 years or something, but he managed to save up $600K. By the time they did the interview with him, he had invested his way to $600K, and they were talking about how amazing that was. And granted, he's an old man with he had like a real interest in finance, and he bought Coca-Cola and IBM stock at the time and did very well. But to your point, it's not available to too many folks. You know what I mean?
Right.
So,
and then when you do have people that were never came from money,
yep,
all of a sudden stumble on money, they have no idea what to do.
No, they have no idea what to do with it. And that's by design. I think.
Oh yeah, 100%.
I think that's 100%. So by
100%.
design. I mean, they talk about it, and I just recently read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, which is like that. It's like a lot of people read that in their 20s,
Well, I never read it, but I've seen like a video that summarized some of the messaging.
Yeah, well, I think these days a lot of what he talks about in that book, it's Robert Kiyosaki, a lot of what he talks about in that book has made its way into the lexicon of sort of like financial advice and financial thinking in the mainstream. So I think when people quote him a lot and stuff, and I think man, it's so by design. We're the education system, from the time you're just a little kid all the way up through college, they're mostly relying on the idea that you will be an employee. You know what I mean?
100%. Well, that to your point, it is by design because there's only but so many people that can not work. Right.
Right. And it's weird how and I feel like I got to figure it out kind of from square one because I moved here, and I do have a little bit of a leg up, whatever, you know what I mean? I wasn't dirt poor growing up. We were, moderate income. I was lucky enough to get to go to a boarding school, I went to a sick private school for high school for swimming, actually.
For swimming?
Yep. So
I can't imagine you swimming right now.
Oh yeah, dude, I swam my whole childhood. So I got an opportunity. I got a little bit of money to go to this private school, and I got a little help from some of my dad's family members, and got to go get a good. But even that, they're mostly teaching you how to be an employee. They're teaching 100%. You how to collect a salary and this and that. But when I moved here, I had $3,000 and a Lincoln Town car full of stuff, and a girl who worked. She's an assistant doing hair, she made $7.50 an hour, so not my wife now, I met my wife after, but you know, so I feel like I really kind of did get to build it from, and you know, when I started at Hand of Glory, like I didn't have like much of a clientele. Like I was like really starting from scratch, you know? So I feel like you can do it. You really got to claw.
Yes.
You really do have to claw, and you do have to like educate yourself, because it's not,
Oh man.
They keep that shit. You know what I think? I think that they have, like, obviously our economy rests on a big base of poor people.
Yeah.
So they like have to keep this giant base of like poor people to support the rest of the pyramid, right? It's like terrible to say, but it's like they keep people poor. That's why they don't teach people about finance in school.
Right.
Because they could easily teach people about like investing and fucking Roth IRA and high yield savings account and whole life insurance and all this stuff that like, I mean,
Yeah.
you know, and nowadays too, I kind of am in this spot where I'm like, man, there's kind of like 16-year-old kids getting rich on Forex that literally had nothing yesterday. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
crypto's kind of become this great equalizer where it's like,
Well, I mean, I think the market in general has always been a great equalizer,
Yeah.
right? The problem is there's not a lot of people in there,
yep,
right? I remember at my old job, I worked with a lot of like 23-year-old, 24-year-old, 25-year-olds. I'm like, hey, how much are you like investing in the market? They're like, we're not.
that's so crazy.
And I'm just like, all right, well, let me just give you one piece of advice, take it or leave it. But, you know, forget relationships, forget everything else. If there's one thing you're going to remember, buy stocks as soon as you can.
Yep,
As soon as you can, right?
that's great advice.
Because in 10 years, you're going to be like, holy shit.
Yep,
That money that I threw in there all of a sudden doubled, tripled, quadrupled, whatever. And if you steadily add into it, you'll be fine.
it's totally true, and it's totally, people are very mistrustful of it. You know
Oh,
what
100%.
I mean?
Because again, the lack of education, right?
Yeah.
I had a friend of mine tell me, oh, well, what if I throw like $500 in there, the stock goes down, is my money gone? I'm like, no.
It's gonna go down, actually.
Yeah,
It'll
it's natural for it to
go
go down.
down, and then it'll go up, but it's not gonna be a short game.
Right. And so she was just like, well, it just seems scary, right? So I'm just not gonna bother.
I guess those first steps, you know, I think about it myself, like downloading a stash app and being like, what do I type in? What do I do? You know, like I definitely remember taking those first steps and being like, oh fuck, like you know, what should I? And I didn't actually do anything good. I think I invested in a bunch of weed stock. It fucking spiked and I didn't sell. I was like, cool, it spiked, and I hung on to it. And then
Yeah.
obviously it's Tilray, so it, you know, it pumps and dumps every few years. And it pumped, it dumped, and I lost. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And I think after a while, I think I talked to my uncle or something. He was like, what the fuck are you talking about? Weed stocks, man. ExxonMobil, Amazon, Apple.
Right,
You know?
right.
No, like, don't try to invest in bullshit, man. It's not going
Right.
to get you anywhere, you know? So it's like...
If you don't have like insider information, if you don't have certain data points,
Yep.
go with the big names or go with a hedge fund that, you know, gives you the S&P 500
Yep.
and blah, blah, blah. But
Totally.
the problem is when you tell that to people, they're like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah.
And it's like, all right, this is the sad part about our educational system that you said is on purpose. It probably is on purpose to make sure that
on purpose.
everybody stays an employee, everybody stays paycheck to paycheck. Because when you are paycheck to paycheck, you're more willing to do things that you don't want to do.
I think it's so true, you know. I think you know, like, well, and even, you know, I feel like there's a whole thing now where I think people are paycheck to paycheck, even off 500K salary, because they just end up, however much more money you make,
They
you
spend it
just
more.
end up spending that money, where like they don't teach you like, oh, open a business. If you need to, find a side hustle, open another little business. Like, I feel like this place got me thinking creatively about money, which I had never considered in my entire life. You know what I mean? Like, I never thought about money because I was always just an artist, you know, and
Yeah.
I was worried about, focused on the tats, living well within my means. And then I got this place and I opened it in a time of like, dude, it was slow. You know, I opened it in 2023, and I think sort of, obviously we don't use like very updated metrics to measure our economy. You know what I mean? It's kind of a lot of stuff like PCE and core inflation and all these things. They're like old numbers that are kind of left, even the GDP, even how we do GDP, even how we do the jobs data. It's like all of it is kind of like left over from an older world.
Yeah, and it's macro level, like very macro level. And it's designed for investors.
Totally.
Hey,
Yep.
which way are we going?
Yep.
Oh, should I invest more consumer? Should I do more tech? Should I do more financial? That's what it's for. It's not for the everyday mom and pop store.
Yep.
Or a local town that's like deserted.
I was so glad to learn that stuff, because if you're keeping an eye on those indicators, you can go ahead and say like, damn, we might be having some tough times come up. You might be able to make some kind of prediction.
Yeah.
Now, even, and but those numbers come out, and a lot of times they get revised later, where you're like, okay, so that number was wildly wrong.
Yeah.
And then it turned out to be this metric that couldn't be used anyway because it was just like wrong. And then it got revised the next month, but nobody was paying attention to the old number. But it's kind of almost just to like placate the stock market, really.
It's, playing golf, sucking your finger and saying, hey, where's the wind going, right? Oh, okay, it's going this way. I know I got to swing that way, right? That's what it's for.
Totally.
Is it the whole truth, and everyone's feeling it? No. Like, this economy has sucked for a while.
It's sucked for a while, and I think we've been in a recession. I think we've been in a recession really since COVID. You know what I mean? We have this weird K-shaped economy that people keep talking about, where the asset class is doing better and better. And that's the other thing, is like, the more you learn about it, the more you're like, oh, if I own the right shit, I benefit from inflation.
Oh, 100%.
100%.
There's money to be made at every corner. You just got to know how, right?
Bro, I'm so envious of your background in banking and stuff, because I think it's so cool. And like, I was listening to a long interview with a guy who was like a debt trader recently. He was like buying and selling debt. And it's like such a complicated, like fucked up world. And dude, just listening to him expound on it was really an interesting. He talked about crypto, he talked about our markets in general, and he talked about how we're like the big bailer. Like, we bail everybody out, we buy everybody's debt, and then we sell it in the form of these bonds. And we're kind of getting to the point where like, yo, who's gonna bail us out? Like, we're the bailer. Who the fuck bails us out when we get into too much debt?
Negative assets.
Yeah, negative assets in our government and stuff. But there's also a lot of other things, like about how like a lot of times our gold is undervalued. They're talking about revaluing our gold to like what the price of it is now. And
so I had a huge debate, maybe it was like 2 weeks ago. Is money real?
Oh man, that's a good one. Oh my God, dude. Oh fuck. Okay, I love that. That's so sick. That's like such a good question.
Because in my head, it's not real.
Not since they started the Fed in like the early 1900s. Like
the concept of money is, hey, I created something that so many people wanted it that I can now do whatever the fuck I want.
Right. Right.
It's fuck you money. Is money real in terms of like, I need a green little piece of paper to go buy a slice of pizza? Yeah.
Yep.
In that sense, sure, it's real. But in reality, it's completely made up.
It's completely made up, and especially now that it's like fiat currency with nothing backing it but the truth. Right. Nothing backs our money but our nukes. It's
1,000%.
crazy to say that basically the only thing keeping our money real is the fact that we have a fucking gun to the rest of the world's head. And that's why a lot of countries at this point are getting fucking sick of it, and they're saying, we're going to de-dollarize. We're not even going to fucking deal. We're not going to have the US be we're not going to have the US dollar be the reserve currency anymore, because we're sick of the way that you do these like gunboat economics where you just roll up on somebody and basically take their shit, which we've been doing since like the dawn of America,
Right.
basically. We did it to our own country and our own land. And then,
We do it to our own people.
We do it to our own people.
We go to do it in other countries.
Go do it in other countries. I feel like we're in this whole new era of disclosure where like Bush 1 was like, we're going to help Kuwait. It's not for the oil. And then Bush 2 was like, we're going to help Iraq. It's for democracy. It's not for the oil. And now we have Trump who's like, fuck it. It's for the oil. We're just going. We're just going to get their oil, man. We need the oil. Russia and China can't have the oil. Fuck everybody. You know what I mean?
But look, not that I agree with what he's doing, but I do appreciate the dumb honesty. Right?
I appreciate the disclosure. Here's the thing. After 4 years of Biden, who didn't say a fucking word, and you had your phone telling you one thing where you're like, okay, the news is saying this, but I'm looking around and my eyes are saying this. And what I'm seeing with my eyes is very different than what's on my phone. Meanwhile, I haven't heard a thing from any of our leaders in months. Nobody's getting on the camera. With Trump, it's like too much, where it's like he gets every day on Twitter and Truth Social being like, here's what we're doing today. Fuck so-and-so and so-and-so for making fun of me. I'm fucking mad at this person, you know what I mean? And like, it's almost too much. But after years and years of kind of being in the dark and definitely feeling lied to about our economy. Like I definitely felt lied to about how things were going economically under Biden. And I think, ultimately, like even though it's scary for a lot of people, I appreciate the disclosure under Trump where it's like, it's not ideal, but it's at least at least you're appraised of what the fuck is going on, and definitely as an investor and a business owner, and just a guy who likes to be informed and feel like even if it's harsh, at least I'm being told the truth about something.
Yeah,
the truth to whatever degree to whatever degree the general public gets to even know the truth. Because I'm getting to this point where I'm like, ugh, I only care about the news insofar as it affects markets. The rest of it is above my fucking pay grade. I don't think we're told the truth about anything. I think we're lied to about a lot of stuff. So a lot of times, I don't even think that I know enough of the truth to formulate an opinion. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to focus on my shop, my wife, the guys and girls that work here, my dogs, my homies. And dude, if it's beyond that and it's beyond any positive, if it's beyond anything that I can have a positive impact on, it's just above my pay grade. I can't deal with it. I want to know what's going on, but only to the extent that I can keep everything in my own world going good. Like, they'll try to get everybody wrapped up in every little thing that's happening everywhere in the world. And, I feel lucky that I'm older now. And so, when you're younger, you get very wound up and very angry at all the stuff that's happening in the world. And it's easy to have it happen. But the older I get, the more I'm like, I can't worry about that. We're not told the truth anyway,
right?
About huge issues, and I say all the time, people kind of look at me as like a Dale Gribble type figure a lot of times, where they're like, oh, Shay's conspiracy guy, whatever. But I'm like, listen, if you don't think, if you don't think we were told the truth about the beginning of World War II, you don't think we were necessarily told the truth about JFK, if you don't think we were told the truth about 9/11, where do you think the truth begins? I don't know, man, because these are huge things that happened that we were not told the truth about. You know what I mean? And it's demonstrable at this point. It's like...
Well, I know we're getting way sidetracked, but let me ask you this. No, let me ask you this. What is the biggest benefit to hiding a lot of the truth? Because it's obvious that they're lying, right?
Oh, yeah.
Whether it be something small of like, I saw J.D. Vance, you saw the whole immigrant ICE incident where... Someone got shot. They were just trying to drive away. Yeah. Murdered, right? And then you got J.D. Vance going on national television going, he went through trauma 6 months ago and this girl tried to run him over. So, he reacted naturally. And it's like, well, it's not really true, but...
I think it's a thing that never should have happened. I think that
what is the benefit of lying about all of, whether it be something like this or, 9/11, it was just completely impossible for us to know that it was coming, right?
I think that, it's, I don't know, they want people to keep faith in our government. They want people to have faith in our government, and that's what keeps the dollar going. You know what I mean? Like,
it all goes back to money,
ultimately,
man.
it just
goes
comes back to money.
money.
So they want ultimate control of that metric. And so they'll really say anything, you know what I mean? And it goes back so far. Like, we knew Pearl Harbor was going to happen. We let Pearl Harbor happen so that World War II could get started. Or, like, here's been my favorite thing recently that I learned, and I didn't know about this.
All right.
So, did you know that J.P. Morgan was supposed to be on the Titanic? J.P. Morgan, there was a ton of people that were, like opposed to setting up the U.S. Treasury, the Fed, that were on the Titanic, and like probably 12 hours before he was supposed to get on there, J.P. Morgan said, "I'm not getting on it. I'm not getting on the Titanic. I'm bolting. I'm canceling, and my family's not coming either." And then all these people that were opposed to the Fed
are on the Titanic.
They all died. You know what I mean? And like, that's like such a moment where you're like, is that just a big hit job? Like, is that like the hit job of all times where like all of a sudden and then we got fractional reserve currency. We got like the worst deal of all time out of how that all came to pass, because nothing really backs our money anymore.
Is it a coincidence? Probably not.
Yeah, probably not. But it could be.
Not.
Crazier shit has happened. Maybe the dude got a cold or something, but like it definitely reeks of like
all of the people that are against me, put them all into this little boat. Oops.
And how it happened.
And I think that's what happened in Russia too, right? Like there was like a bunch of like generals or something that were opposed to Putin, and they all got on the airplane or helicopter, and then they crashed, and it's like
something happened like that too. Back to your question though, I think the thing about money being real or not, like I feel like these days, like that's such a good question. I want to get back to it because I
sorry,
feel like
we're all over the place.
We'll riff, dude. I that's why I love talking to you because we'll always get down a rabbit hole on some shit. But I think the money being real thing, and I think a lot of people are figuring this out now. I listened to a great podcast that I want to shout out. It's called Stranger by the Hour. It's by these two dudes that I know that are both longtime Marine veterans. And they interview a lot of different kinds of people. They interview other people that were like veterans, highly skeptical of everything. You know what I mean? Highly skeptical about COVID, very skeptical of, and these are dudes who worked for the State Department too. They're like very knowledgeable. I mean, we're talking about 20-year plus like MARSOC Marines, like very highly trained, just an amazing podcast, dude. But it will have you questioning everything, right? Like you listen to it and they get so deep down the rabbit hole. And a lot of it, like people will be like, oh, conspiracy theory. I'm like, dude, a lot of what we're told is conspiracy theory is like, it's just conspiracies. They're provable. They happened. There's like a lot of evidence that we were lied to, you know what I mean? But it's easier to ignore it, right? But anyway, both of these dudes now like live on farms. They like farm their own food. They like have all their own shit. And nowadays I'm like, that's true freedom. Like getting outside the dollar, if you can really get yourself like, and that's the thing, we don't have the luxury of doing that in New York City. And I have to listen to the podcast with like, I love listening to them talk, but I also have to take into account like, dude, I live in New York City. Like I can't just like start growing my own food and raising pigs and, chickens. That's
probably not going to happen.
Not going to happen here. You know what I mean? So for the time being, I've got my own life. I'm worried about finance. I love to hear them talk about this stuff though, because it's two dudes that know an awful lot about that world and the U.S. government and the lengths that we'll go to obfuscate and to cover shit up. But I think that nowadays, people that are off the grid, that like have like a stash of gold, and of course they have cash, you know what I mean? And they probably have a bank account. They probably got some crypto and some other stuff. And it takes a lot of money to be truly off the grid. But like you got big solar panels, you got a water wheel, you're making your own electricity, you're farming your own food. Like that's true freedom. You know what I mean? That is somebody that's truly rich now. When I really look at it, I think like, damn, would you rather be rich but rely on all these systems that you don't really trust? Or would you rather be rich to the point where it doesn't fucking matter if those systems come crashing down, you're good to go anyway? You know, like I'm like,
Okay, well, this goes in the way of, all right, is there value in being human?
yeah.
Right?
Oh, of
Because
course.
I make this joke all the time, but those squirrels in Central Park, they've never paid taxes.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
They've never clocked in. They've
Yep.
never clocked out.
Yep.
They've never said, hey, let me write a poem,
Yep.
you know? So is there value in getting to the point where we care about clothes?
Yeah.
We have to cook our meals.
Yep.
You have to behave a certain way or else you'll get in trouble. You'll go to jail.
Yep.
And you have to be wealthy to get to that point where you're more like the squirrel,
Yeah.
right? So
That's funny to even think about. Only
is
the
there
very-
value to being a human then if it just brings all of these daunting tasks?
Oh man, we're the only species that's like dumb enough to smoke cigarettes. And, you know what I mean? Like we're so smart that we can like, we're so smart that we set up all these systems and contraptions and habits and all this shit that ultimately fucks us up. You know?
Because I think to your question of like, you know, which one is true wealth and happiness and freedom?
Yep.
Is it not being affected by the world or having pretty much everything but depending on it?
Yep.
I think they're both, right? Because then you get to, if you're on the other extreme, you're Jeff Bezos,
Yep.
you get to benefit from everything.
Yep.
Everything that mankind has ever created or thought of,
Man.
you get to benefit on.
Yeah.
Oh, we can go to space?
Dude.
Put me in a ship, let's go.
I saw the most cringe video of Bezos the other week on, I forget, I think it was on X or something, but it was like him and his new chick, and they're like in Mexico and they're wasted, and they both have like stupid hats on, and they're like, woo, 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 and there's like all these people around, and they're like partying in the most like lamest way I've ever, you know what I mean? They were like partying like someone's horrible aunt on like a carnival cruise. And I was watching this video of these two idiots. And I mean, it's such a human moment where you're like, holy fuck, shit is not too different. No matter what, no matter how much money you have, you don't get to be outside this like stupid little life that we have. You know what I mean? It almost made like people were roasting him. Like it was, the comment section was hilarious. But I was kind of like, this is kind of awesome because this dude could do anything, but he's literally partying like two middle-aged people at a Chili's right now. And like, he's having so much fun and everybody's shitting on him. But it's like okay for this dude to have like regular ass fun.
Right.
Even though he can go to space. But it goes to show you like, you have all the money in the world and ultimately like, you still want to do that, you know what I mean? It was like kind of a funny equalizing moment where I'm like, it's kind of cute. I don't know. It's kind of hilarious. Like,
it is. It really goes back down to we're all the same.
Yeah.
Right. We're all the fucking same.
It's really so true.
Yeah.
It's really so true.
It doesn't matter, you know, if you're coming from like southern tip of Africa or the northern tip of Russia.
Yeah.
You're probably gonna want a good meal.
Yep.
You want some decent music, decent weather to like relax.
Bro.
You want the people you love around you.
I say it all the time. I just think that most people want the same stuff. Everybody just has a different, and they disagree violently about how we're gonna get to those things that almost everybody wants. But I think, you know, that's the thing is like, when you get people to actually sit down and talk to each other, which I think that there's like a real lack of now in America, that's sort of the tough thing about it is like, I think if people would just not cut each other off and communicate, people would understand like, yo, we have a lot more in common than we even realize, you know what I mean? It's like subtle differences in how we're gonna get to the things that we want, but it's, people get really wrapped up in the nuance of that, you know what I mean? Well, and also we have a media and an intelligence community and a government and a whole system that capitalizes off keeping people very divided, you know what I mean? And we'll never overcome it, not in this lifetime, you know what I mean?
No, we never will. I think that also goes back to the whole benefit of being a human, right? Is that you develop this culture of like, hey, this is what's right. And if your culture doesn't agree with that, then now I don't like you.
Right.
And we can never be friends.
Right.
And I think that's just human.
Yep.
That is very human. there's a larger and larger population like that these days
Yeah.
because of social media and everything else. But from the beginning, right? Hey, this tribe protects this tribe.
Right.
And this tribe protects this tribe.
Totally.
And then all of a sudden, these little tribes get together to make one big tribe that take over this other tribe. I'll be careful here, but there is a fascination with like Native Americans in this country where they're like, man, we all need to be just like them, blah, blah, blah. And it's like,
Right.
well,
they were
hang
all
on.
killing each other.
Yeah,
for
they
sure.
were. They
It
were
was not-
definitely fighting for resources and fighting for territory.
Oh.
And
yeah.
all of
and-
this crazy stuff. They just didn't have guns.
Right. I think that we are sold that narrative a lot of times where it's like this, the like noble native thing where it's like, they were all fighting
Yes.
with each other.
Yes.
And did we come over here and fuck
And fuck
everybody
shit up?
shut up?
Yeah.
Of course we did. But like, we're talking about an older world where everybody was conquering everyone. And are
Right.
we going to hold, are we going to hold people now accountable for things that they know? You know what I mean? I feel like there gets to be this feeling that like, oh, someone's got to atone for that right now. And it's like, unfortunately, it's 2026, and you're just gonna have to be accountable for your own actions. Back to that thing I said earlier, where like I didn't do it. Okay, so you know what I mean? Like not on anything, but I've only ever been like super awesome to everyone that I've met, unless I've had express reason not to be.
Right.
You know, and we're raised in that old era of like, I don't see color. Right. We're raised in that old era of like, let's just get along, and we're all equal in the eyes of the law.
Yeah, and I think that there's a better way to say that these days, because that is a negative thing, right? Like if you say, "Oh, I don't see color," then people are like, "Oh, you should." And it's like, well, okay, here's what I really mean. I see it, but I don't react to it.
Right.
Like
I'm going to treat everybody based on their individual, like my own individual dealings with people is how I'm going to treat them, and that's the only way to do it.
You got to respect and love everybody. Unless there's a reason that you shouldn't.
Unless you're in express danger or, unless you're in danger or you're being affronted specifically, then I think you got to treat everybody with dignity and respect from the get-go.
Yep.
And it's not going to be as simple as like, oh, well, this type of person behaves this way, and so I'm just not going to fuck with any of them at all. It's like, no, you don't ever get to do that, and not with anybody. You know what I mean? And it's just not how we're operating. You know what I mean? It's just not. That is not treating people with true dignity and true individuality, because everybody is their own person, and you're just going to have to take everybody as they come. You know what I mean?
100%. But that goes back to the whole like podcast, right? Like, what were we talking about right before? It's like, that's why I like interviewing everyone around me, right? Because you don't have to be famous, you don't have to be rich, you don't have to do anything. Everyone has their story.
Totally.
Everyone has their experience, and they're all valid, right?
Yeah.
Like, no one's gonna be like, oh, well, you own a tattoo shop, then you don't know what it means to blah, 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 blah. It's
bro, and I mean, I've heard that one for sure.
Yeah,
You
and
know
it's
what
like,
I mean?
it's like, well, let's pump the brakes, You don't know my history. You don't know anything, right? How about we hang out, get to know each other, and I guarantee you we're all going to be friends.
Yep.
And even if we're not friends, we're not going to hate each other.
Yep.
Right? And there's no reason to hate each other unless there's like to your point, violence or attack or very specific reasons for you to be like, hey, you know what? Fuck off.
Yep.
Right?
Absolutely.
Outside of that, we should all get along, and that's just, I don't know. That's a world that will probably never exist, and that's fine. I accept it.
It's fine, but we could do our own little part, and I think it's
and educating each other, right? And that goes back to the whole financial thing. That's why they don't teach you that stuff.
They don't
because
teach you that.
If you all come together like that,
it's easier to divide people that are like broke and think it's somebody else's fault. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, that's a definite tool of division that I think gets like very overlooked. Is like, keeping people broke is a great way to divide everybody, because you can tell everyone that it's somebody else's fault or whatever the case may be, and that's fucking a great way to do it right there. But almost everything that we have in the modern world works to that division in some way, shape, or form. You know what I mean? Like,
it can all be weaponized.
Oh,
everything.
Dude, that's just been like so apparent in the social media. And dude, especially now, so like, I don't know if you've noticed, like I use Instagram for work, but all of a sudden, dude, I get nothing but divisive political content in my Instagram all day. And I'm like, I only follow tattooers. So where is any of this coming from? You know what I mean? I follow tattooers. I follow Ken McElroy. I follow, you know, like a couple of my buddies that like I used to tattoo, you know, but like all of a sudden it's all this insane, like you're like, what, you know, it's like, unless it starts out with like, unless a video starts out with like, this is going to be an unpopular opinion. And you're like, I don't even want to hear it, dude. Whatever you're about to say next. No. Like I had to test that out. I got on Threads and I was like, unpopular opinion. I'm now booking October. And because I put that first, it got like a bunch more engagement. You know what I mean? And I was just like, what the fuck is this? What is this? Like, and I just think that nowadays, like that's just what gets the engagement, you know, is like if you're posting something for people to enjoy or you're trying to make money off of it, unless it's divisive political content or like an ad for OnlyFans, you're not getting any engagement whatsoever, you know?
A friend of mine, she was considering quitting her job to do social media content stuff. Mm-hmm. And my only advice to her was like, look, you're either doing something very, very unique, like that no one's like, whoa, like mind-blowing, or some sort of like sexual content, right? Where it's a super chiseled dude who's like, oh, just woke up in New York City and here's my day, or some woman who's like half very attractive or whatever, and they can go out and be like, oh, look at my bagel, you know, like, that's what sells, right?
The most I mean, honestly, it is good for a laugh, definitely. Like, I don't know, just the most fried shit you've ever seen, where like, I don't know, I keep stumbling across this dude who like will roll up on like a homeless guy and be like, dude, I'm glad I found you. And he like puts a tinfoil hat on him and gives him like a plunger wrapped in tinfoil. And he's like, we gotta go. We gotta get in the van. And then the dude gets in the van and it's like the whole van is covered in tinfoil. He's just like creating his own little world.
Dude, it's so anything silly. Like this.
It's like the most fried shit you've ever seen, but like that's what takes off. Like it's just like, you know, it's either highly divisive or it's funny as fuck and really left field. And you're like,
but I do think that the vast majority of those are going to be divisive, crazy unique, or crazy sex. I guess he
is selling betting. I guess the guy does always shout out like a betting website. He's always shouting out like, oh, I don't know. It's one of them. It's
it's all going to shit. That's why I try to stay off of social media.
I think it's smart, and I think especially if you don't have to. Like I feel very much like I have to.
Well, yeah, you're in this medium of like art as a business, right?
Totally. I think I'm looking to diversify into getting some real estate, getting some investment properties going in North Carolina. And I'm going down there next week.
Are you?
Yep, I'm going to go down next week. And
are you going to look at Campus Edge?
You see, I sent you that? Yeah. Dude, I was like, oh my God. I mean, honestly, if...
Shout out to Campus Edge, Wilmington, North Carolina.
You know, I just read a book. Dude, honestly, if you could get a few investors together, if the whole thing was for sale, if you could get a few investors together to buy the whole thing and change the culture of it, like... you would have to do a massive like makeover of that entire like apartment complex.
How would you describe Campus Edge now?
Dude, you know what? I literally just looked at the Google reviews and it seems like it hasn't changed a bit. Like look up the Google reviews whenever you get a chance. They are fucking hilarious. And it's still like, I thought this place would be the fucking like housing for students, but it's the hood and this guy threatened me and there's hookers everywhere. Like it's like exactly like it was back in the day, apparently. But then when I was looking at properties, I stumbled across I think it was 4 different units or whatever, you know, and they're like dirt cheap. I think it was like $270,000
for 4 units.
4 units, which I mean they're connected by a kitchen. So
my only thinking is that the clientele that I really want to work with? Probably not.
And I have trashed that apartment so bad, dude. Like I literally, like I would, dude. Like when I look back, I'm like, man, would I have rented to you? Probably not. In my own self, like probably not. Nowadays, like looking at it from another lens, I think I'm looking at a duplex. I'm looking at a duplex, and I'm gonna look at a couple single families in Wilmington and a few in Raleigh too.
Dude, that's awesome.
But I definitely need to pick your brain about it a little bit more.
If I had a job, I'd be all in, but
yeah,
my unemployed ass can't get in on that. Not yet.
I kind of think too, like we were talking about, like you manage your own property, so I think I'm going to do the same. I think I'm just going to start out managing my own property and just vet tenants very carefully.
Yes.
And did you have people living there when you was there tenants when you bought the place?
No. I lived in it.
Oh, okay.
I lived in it, and then when I moved to New York.
Oh, you can. Oh, okay, cool.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
So you've had it for kind of a long time.
Luckily.
Cool.
Luckily.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So you've gotten the benefit of like an appreciation play.
Yes.
That's so sick. That's very cool.
I need to pick your brain because maybe I can do something with that, right?
Well, I mean, shit, you could probably, I mean, not now, but I would imagine that you could probably do a cash out refi at some point and invest some of that money, but
technically you're not supposed to do that or legally allowed to do that, right?
I think I don't know. I'd have to look back into it. I know
what are your goals with now becoming a real estate? Before we finish, I do want to say I admire you, man.
Thanks.
You went from Campus Edge doing jack shit.
Yep.
To
dealing drugs.
Owning this in New York City.
This is the imperative.
Fucking dope, right?
Thanks.
You just put your head down.
Yep.
Did the work. And then
a lot of learning.
Now you're over here talking about buying properties in North Carolina.
Dude, it's
what's the ultimate goal here?
I want to get out of the rat race. You know what I mean? Like I want to be able to come in and tat and like just have everything on autopilot. But that's a pipe dream. Like nothing's ever on autopilot. Everybody always has this idea of like passive income, but passive income is a myth. There's no such thing as passive income, dude. If you're making good money off of it, you're putting sweat into it, I think, no matter what.
Right.
And so I think I just want to have enough. I want to have enough assets to benefit off of long-term appreciation and ultimately inflation too, because we know inflation is coming, right? Like we're probably going to cut rates into an inflationary environment. I mean, inflation's only ticked up just a little bit in the last little bit.
Yeah, but I don't think they'll cut rates anytime soon.
You don't think they're
the economy is too hot.
Yeah, I was listening to that interview with that guy the other day, and he's talking about where we might run it hot. We might just run it hot. They might cut rates into an inflationary environment and
say,
just
fuck
kind of
it.
see how it goes. And my thinking was like, I was thinking about it. I was like, I wonder if people would notice like 2% of inflation if they have more money in their pockets. You know what I mean? I feel like that's sort of like we've been doing all these austerity measures for the last couple of years, and I'm kind of like, are people going to notice that an apple is 15 cents more expensive if they just have more money in their pockets in general?
Right.
But we'll see. We'll see if that even happens. I'm in a spot where I'm like, after the last couple of years with this place, I'm like, and we were talking about it earlier, man, with the guys, me and the dudes are like, don't try to figure it out. Don't try to game it. Don't try to think that you're going to know what's coming. Because, dude, however it's going to be, it's just going to be, and you're just going to have to react to it when it happens. You know what I mean? We don't know when tats are going to walk in here. We don't know what all's going to, you don't never know what's going to happen in a day. You could walk in, you could have 4 artists sitting here and everybody's doing nothing on a really nice day in the summer when a ton of people are walking by. Or we could all come in dead of winter, nobody's outside, and all of a sudden by 2 p.m. this place is fucking slammed and there's nowhere for, I'm like, all right, I guess I'll go to the gym because there's nowhere for me to fucking tat anyway. Yeah. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think I see, I think it would be wise to not cut rates. I mean, dude, what else do we need? Like the fucking stock market's been on a tear. It's going to continue to be on a tear. Everybody's worried about this AI bubble, but I'm like,
I don't think it's a bubble. I think it's a bubble. Yeah. It's the beginning of the end of humanity. Very optimistic viewpoint there.
You know, there's some people who think that for sure. I kind of just think that it'll be another internet thing where it's like, what's the world gonna look like? If you could have sat there in 1996 and said like, what's it gonna look like in 25 years? What's it gonna look like in 20 years? Nobody
could
would
have
be able to
predicted.
predict that we would be walking around
Not even close.
with computers in our hands, like that are able to answer any question you could ever want. It basically outmoded our education system. You know what I mean? It made it so like, dude, the kids don't even want to go to school because a lot of let's not even get into the fact that a lot of the kids were sitting around during COVID times watching 9/11 documentaries, and they know all that shit's fucking fake anyway, dude. They know it's all a bunch of good government bullshit, and they're not going to listen to it any fucking way.
Man.
Hey, for better or for worse. I'm not saying it's good or bad. It's outmoded. It's basically, we have technology that's essentially like fucked the narrative up almost. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't know. The whole AI thing, we'll see.
We'll see.
I don't have good vibes on it at all, which is why, man, make your money now.
Yeah.
Secure your future now.
Yeah.
Be ready.
There's no time like the present, and that's never been more true than right now.
Well, and that's the funny thing. I was talking to my friend about the importance of money, the importance of like money management. I know we're like, oh, is money real? Well, for humans,
for us, it's real.
For humans,
and especially in a certain bracket. Like I think money's fake if you're either very, very poor and you get like a government stipend and you get a lot of help, or you're very, very rich and you don't ever have to worry about it.
And then
everybody in the middle,
you got to worry about it.
You got to worry about it.
No, but we were having the discussion of like, what is the most important thing in life in terms of like freedom and all sort of stuff. And for the longest time, I was making the argument of money, 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 money. She's like, no, health, whatever, other things. But at the end of the conversation, I was like, you know what? It's time.
Time.
Money comes and goes.
Yep.
Health comes and goes.
Totally.
You can alter your health. You can alter relationships. You can alter your financial situation. It's not always easy, but you can.
Yep.
But you ain't never going to get time back.
Yeah, dude.
Once it's gone, it's gone.
I think that's what I want. I want time. I want to be able to sit there wherever I am, and if I decide on that individual day that I want to sit there, listen to music, sit on the beach, and drink a tiny coffee and smoke a cigar, and not think about jack shit, then that's what I want. You know what I mean? I feel like that's an element of what he talks about in Rich Dad Poor Dad. Kind of is like, it's, you do it because you want the mobility and the time to do the things you want to do.
Yeah.
I never thought like that before. You know, it's you know, and I sometimes I was like, man, things were so much simpler when I was just tattooing out of a private studio and I didn't have a shop and I didn't think about all this money stuff. But money's creative too. You know what I mean? Money's art too, and people don't see it that way. But I feel like if people understood that, like, finance is a creative pursuit too, and it involves a lot of strategy, and there's limitations, and it can be so fun.
Yeah.
You know, people don't look at it that way though. People look at it as like the big boogeyman and capitalism is evil and all this stuff, and it's like, man, I dare anybody to come up with a better system. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's where I usually get in trouble, because I know that most of the people that I hang out with or I surround myself with do have a very negative viewpoint of capitalism, and for good reasons. Because I mean, some of the people that I work with, man, the system has fucked them hard, right?
I mean, I feel bad.
That being said, it's not necessarily capitalism that's bad. It's unhinged capitalism, right? There's no controls, no basically infrastructure to say, hey, let's make sure that nobody gets fucked by this. All of that has been removed, and if you are born in the wrong zip code, sorry about your luck, but you've got a nearly impossible, battle.
Totally.
It shouldn't be that way. There's a lot that we can do, but capitalism in itself is not at fault. It's the people that don't, regulate it. That don't put those controls in place to make sure that people don't get fucked.
A lot of people think that I think that people don't understand how many people capitalism and the pursuit of wealth and the pursuit of job creation and all this stuff, it's actually lifted a lot of people out of poverty over the course of history.
And allows us to have iPhones, Macs.
People that sit around and bemoan it without thinking about that piece of it for a second, I'm kind of like, where are you coming from here? Because we're living in a different, you're trying to live in two worlds, you know what I mean? And now we have this sort of broad reaching discussion about, like, you'll hear people that are like, you'll hear people now that say that they're like vehemently communist while like working a bartender job living in New York City. And you're like, buddy, I hate to break it to you, but like, communist, your ass is going to be in the mines. You know what I mean? Like, you think you're like an artist, you're going to be making the like posters for communism. You're like an able-bodied 30-year-old man. You're going to be working the plow, Bo. You'll be working the plow, working in the mines. They're not going to have, it's not like people think. It always devolves into.
And this is what I think is the most important thing in life in general, is just the balance.
Yep.
You cannot have one person controlling everything, but you also can't have a free-for-all.
No.
Because then a lot of people get hurt.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah. You
Either way, a lot of people are going to get hurt.
It's a, you know, and I think having the
meet in the middle.
Totally, and having a little bit of socialism and having some stopgaps and some guardrails on it, I think is very helpful. You know what I mean?
Yes.
But I do think that there's a danger in too much of one or too much of the other. I think you're right. It's like a sliding. It's like a fader on a. It's like a fader on a mixer. You know what I mean? You want it like, I don't know. You know, I heard somebody say recently that like it's the cleanest dirty shirt. You know what I mean? It's the least bad option.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And honestly, as a human, we should accept that most things in the world aren't that good.
It's not fair.
It's not fair. That's the word,
and
right?
it's not gonna be fair. And
right. It never will be fair.
I was trying to tell somebody recently. I was like, bro, the S&P 500 is as close as you're gonna get to egalitarianism.
Everybody jump on board.
If you want to get close to socialism, weirdly, the easiest way to do that for yourself is through the corporate world. It's like I swear to God, like the stock market is like socialism for rich people, but it's not even rich people. I mean, I think I was looking at the numbers the other day, and like almost 70% of Americans are invested in one form or another in the stock market now.
I think that's maybe accurate, but I think
a lot of them are not aware of it. It's like through a 401k, it's through their job, it's like through, you know, or like crypto or stuff like that. But it's, I mean, Robinhood has like changed the game. Like so many
Robinhood
people,
has helped.
Bro, there's so many people playing options now.
That's so dangerous.
Dude, it's so crazy. Everybody is like, every normal person has access to like these crazy margin accounts and all this leveraged trading. And you're like, whoa, that's just gambling. You know what I mean? Which is
that is gambling.
Dude, that's some straight, options is some straight cowboy shit for real. And like, I don't touch it. I just like, I'll do like a little swing trade. I feel like if I can get like a little, you know, if I feel like I can get the drop on something, like I'll swoop in and buy it if I think it's going to go up in a couple week time frame or something. But that's as close as I get to like short term trading, where I feel like nowadays, like people can like borrow 30 G's and do like a 2x leveraged ETF and play the options on it, and then just like lose their ass like. Oh, it's crazy,
that's
dude.
That's dangerous.
Dude, they've gamified it.
To say the least. Shay.
Dude.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, man.
I appreciate
it, Pablo.
Again, you are pushing me to try something new here.
We should do it again. And dude, like we could do this again, and like anytime you want, any place, set up, do a podcast. We could get some other folks involved. Dude, I would love to see.
I'm all for it.
Dude, you know, I'm sure anybody in this shop would be interested in doing one of these too.
Watching your journey of just like becoming better and better and better at everything and more educated on
Dude,
things.
you're
It's
one
incredible.
of the few people that I can talk to. Like I really appreciate your perspective because it's really fun to talk about this shit. And you're one of the few people that intrinsically understands a lot of this stuff. And dude, I appreciate you, man.
Pleasure, sir.
We can always bounce ideas off of each other, and it's always a cool conversation.
Now let's go talk about how we can be slumlords.
We'll call up Mike and Zach Large, and we'll buy up a bunch of units in Campus Edge. And hey,
Fucking
that's
do it.
where we get started, buddy.
Oh man,
You're the man.
this was awesome.
Hell yeah.
Let's see.